Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return with round 16 of season 1 of our F1 Manager 24 career mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here at the Temple of Speed for the Italian Grand Prix. If you missed out on the last video from Zandvoort, I would highly recommend going back and checking out. It was probably, as a team, one of the stronger races we've had so far this season. Unfortunately, no more points were scored though, and even more annoyingly than that, Ricciardo did score some more points for the VCARB team as well there. So we're 11 points back now, with just a few rounds to go of the campaign. We're basically going to need a couple of really big miracle results between now and the end of the year if we want to try and challenge them. You can see Tsunoda still 12th place overall in the drivers' standings. Lawson, though, with that result, up to P19. So hopefully, yeah, he's going to have a bit of better run towards the end of the year, especially as McLaren are looking to poach him in the not too distant future as well. So it means that we need to go out and try and scout some potential other drivers as well. Then, of course, Abby Pulling, we attempted to try and get her last time out. Unsuccessful. Not interested. Apparently, McLaren are trying to basically poach everybody inside this game right now. So we're kind of limited with the options we can go with. Kevin Magnussen could be a good shout in the future. Esteban Ocon, Pierre Gasly, all could be good shouts. So I think we're going to try and shoot a contract over towards Pierre Gasly's direction and kind of see what numbers he's expecting from his team as well there. Now, we are a little bit short on cash at the moment, and both cars are currently, I think, failing inspection there. You can see, yeah, Yuki, he's going to have to go back to one of the old suspension setups, which is going to cost us a little bit of straight line speed around this circuit. I don't know about Liam Lawson, though. Has he still got a decent car? His rear wing has failed, so we can install a replacement there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to be a little bit cheeky. I'm going to install the old suspension on Liam's car, and then we're going to give Yuki the new suspension still, that hopefully will mean that he's still going to be a little bit more competitive over the course of this weekend. Obviously, Lawson's leaving us at the end of the year, so I don't really feel the need to have too much loyalty towards him, because clearly he doesn't feel the same way towards us. But yeah, let's head then here to the Temple of Speed, ready in Monza.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, with the Italian Grand Prix. Welcome to life in the fast lane. We're here at Monza in Italy, the home of Ferrari. But who will take home the points this weekend?
Well, looks like it's meant to be sunny skies right throughout the weekend here at the Temple of Speed, and that's good news as well. Obviously, Zandvoort last weekend ended up being quite a crazy race, so hopefully we're going to have a bit more normality this time out. Of course, we've got the real-life Azerbaijan Grand Prix coming at the end of the week, so I want to try and be ahead of IRL Formula 1 by the time, obviously, the real cars are racing around that around that Azerbaijan circuit. So yeah, we've still got a lot of goals, we've still got a lot of things we want to do. I'm still enjoying F1 Manager 24 quite a lot as well. So hopefully as we kind of get towards the end of the first season, the craziness can kind of step in and things will get even more wild as well there. And just, I want to say thank you as well to everybody for continuing to kind of support and enjoy this series as well. Obviously, it's definitely not as popular, I would say, broadly as F1 24, but it seems that obviously the people that do enjoy F1 Manager really, really do enjoy F1 Manager as well then. So, as always, yep, we're going to head out then nice and early on in free practice. Try and get some lap times on the board as well. There you can see Ferrari opting for a complete junior lineup. Ollie Behrman, Dino Beganovic in those cars. Hajar once again in the Red Bull. Antonelli down at Merc. Alpine, though. Colapinto, is he technically now in that car permanently? I don't know whether Sargent will be kind of in the team anymore. Have F1 Manager updated that? Is that something? I guess we'll only find out as the weekend goes on. You can see Chloe Chambers down at Haas, and then Crawford again down at Aston Martin, so no major surprises throughout a lot of the teams lower down the order as well then. But yeah, for us though, this could potentially be a good weekend. It might, we're basically looking for opportunities still between now and the end of the year. I think we're going to need a bit of a miracle if we want to try and beat out VCARB overall. Ultimately, it's just going to require enough craziness in a couple of races for basically Tsunoda versus Ricciardo that hopefully we can try and take some points out of them. But ultimately, I'm not going to hold my breath between now and the end of the campaign. Obviously, the long-term goal is to be trying to score points in every other race. But I'm kind of hoping as we head into Season 2, you know, maybe we'll see the performance move around a bit more. As I mentioned a couple of episodes ago, all of our development costs now, any money we've got in the budget, is just going to be set up to spend on next year's car. Because apparently, yeah, that is kind of the way you can elevate yourself forward inside this game as well then. But of course, Verstappen, he's dominated like the last 5 or 6 Grand Prix this season. Every single one, he's gone and won by over half a minute. So I'm kind of hoping that maybe we get a little bit more intrigue between now and the end of the year as well. With the title fight, you know, not necessarily that we're going to get like a full-on championship battle or anything like that, but hopefully, you know, it can be a little bit more interesting than what we've got at the moment there, as the team wants to basically opt for no wing whatsoever on the car, which I guess makes sense here at Monza as well then. So we just need to try and dial out a little bit more of the oversteer, which will go like that, and hopefully that's going to give Liam Lawson a car that he is going to be a bit more comfortable with. You know, I know this track is low downforce, but I wasn't expecting it to quite be that low downforce, as Yuki as well on the other side of the garage also not too happy. So we will get some tweaks done to his car as well as he'll make his way back into the pit lane there. We've got yellows out. Alex Albon just going for a spin. Not too much to talk about on that one. And you can see Yuki, I mean, he wants no downforce. Absolutely none whatsoever in that other car, so hopefully we're going to have a, you know, a quick car down the straights over the course of the weekend, and yeah, we'll make those tweaks as well then to that car as well. So we'll get them both back out. Obviously, I did up the run length slightly. Lawson probably did only need about 15 laps to kind of get into a groove here. Yuki normally does, yeah, sort of take 17 or 18, depending on where we're at inside the game as well. But yeah, we'll get them both out. We'll just try and make sure that we get one more bit of feedback from both drivers, and then obviously we'll head forward into qualifying as well there. But, you know, yeah, like I've said, I'm still loving F1 Manager 24. I think it really has been a good step in the right direction. Honestly, there's a slight part of me that wishes I'd done more of this on the main channel. Obviously, those of you that are enjoying it here are, you know, still enjoying it, and I can't thank you guys enough, but I kind of wasn't expecting this game to be as popular as it has been. Maybe because F1 24 hasn't been as popular as I think a lot of people were expecting as well there. But in terms of pace, we actually seem to be fairly competent at the moment, especially when you factor in, obviously, the idea that, you know, both drivers are on an old set of hard compound tyres as well. I mean, admittedly, Dino Beganovic has got issues in that Ferrari, but to pretty much be matching him, I don't think we can complain all too much about either here. As Liam Lawson, though, hopefully we're going to get feedback from him. Yes, we are. So we'll bring him back into the pit lane once again. And we've got a VSC, so we will do the same with Yuki Tsunoda as well. Let's just get those setups tweaked ever so slightly. And yeah, then we will bring both cars out towards the end of the session there. So yeah, Lawson seemingly very, very happy with what he's got underneath him. Just want to try and tweak a couple of numbers still, just to try and make him fully happy with the car. So if we'll go like that, hopefully he's going to be happy with that one there. And yeah, we'll send him back out on a set of hard compound tyres. And Yuki Tsunoda as well, then making his way back towards the pit lane here. Hopefully we'll just make sure he is also seemingly pretty happy with the car as well then. So I guess that's good news. Obviously, as we head into the rest of the weekend as well there. I don't want to try and break too much of his setup either. I guess we'll go like that. We'll go like that. And there we go. That should be all good. I'm going to let them go back out, get their last few runs. And yeah, I think I'll see you guys in qualifying.
Let's hope the teams took full advantage of practice. It's time for qualifying.
As we've already seen, Monza is a fast circuit. And it's no wonder the locals call it La Pista Magica, the magic track. For 80% of this lap, the cars are at full throttle, and the engines will need to give it everything they've got here in qualifying.
Aston Martin's driver there, of course. How do you think they'll do today, Karun?
It hasn't been a great showing from the team's drivers so far. Neither will want to be left behind, and I'm sure they'll both be looking to pull ahead today.
Strap yourselves in. This is Formula One.
Well, here we are then, ready for qualifying, and of course we want to try and make sure that we rewrite the wrongs of last weekend. Try saying that 10 times over, Because, of course, yeah, we had an absolute disaster. The first time ever, I believe, in this series that we had both cars out in Q1. Hopefully, yeah, we won't do the same here today. There is just having to make a few tweaks to Yuki's car as well, right towards the start of qualifying. Apparently, he's got too much traction in that car, but everything else is a little bit all over the show as well. So just going to have to try and make sure everything is as he would like. Which is actually struggling, not enough cornering, which is a little bit peculiar. So I guess we'll try and go like that and then really bring... I mean, yeah, we just cannot quite get everything refined the way I would want it there. So I think Yuki, we're just going to run slightly more downforce to hopefully give him a bit of a helping hand. Liam Lawson, though, very, very happy with the car setup he's got underneath him. Of course, both drivers do like slightly different things, though, inside the car. So you can't always make everybody happy, at least with the same setups then. But, of course, yeah, here at Monza, it is going to be all about trying to make sure that we just... I mean, we've got to prioritise Yuki. But I think what we're going to be better off doing... He's out in Q1 anyway, letting him go first, so he can try and drag Liam, along with him here. So that might potentially work out for us. I guess we'll wait and see as to how things go. But of course, obviously, we want to make sure that we are in free track space as well. Then, as we'll ride with Liam, he's a little bit too far behind at the moment, so I'll just get him to try and push a little bit to get closer to his teammate. And I guess we're going to try and go now? Oh, don't say I've sent him first. I'm so stupid. Well, Liam Lawson's going first then. I just cannot seemingly kind of refine that as well as I would like to. So Lawson's going to go first then. I guess he's going to have his tyres a little bit more warmed up than Yuki is in the second car. And maybe, just maybe, he can try and push some other cars out of the way as well then. As obviously once you put them onto manual control, you can't then put them back onto automatic inside this game, which is... I don't think a bad thing, but certainly is always a little bit peculiar as well there. So down in towards that first corner. Obviously, we're going to be comparing the split times as best as we can. Carlos Sainz there almost immediately into the 1 minute 19s. And are we going to see that Merc stay out of the way? Ish. Not really where I would have wanted Hamilton to situate himself, but I guess we're going to have to deal with it there as Liam Lawson first sector 28.6, Yuki 28.4. But again, Lawson now... He seems to have done something over the summer break, I'm hoping, where he just seems to, rather than being kind of 3-4 tenths away through most sectors, he's only a tenth or two most of the time. We've got to make sure he doesn't get back in his own head between now and the end of the year, because it is, kind of frustrating, because he basically, like we've said, he put himself through a bit of a death spiral in the first half of the campaign. But I mean, yeah, the track like Monza, though, it's going to be really, really dictated by what your straight line speed is like, how efficient your car is. On the straights, the Renault Power Unit is meant to be the most efficient one inside the game as well, so we'll kind of see whether that plays into our hand as we head into the Grand Prix there. But 27.4, 27.2, Lawson's definitely slightly down on Yuki as he finishes off his run, and you can see there, yeah, he goes 5 thousandths of a second away from Bottas. Hopefully Tsunoda will go quicker than Esteban, which he will there. Slower than Ratomo Miata, though, which is a little bit of a shame. So Lawson is going to require another lap. Yuki shouldn't. I'm hoping we've put Liam Lawson out in a bit of a situation now where he's got a McLaren right up behind him, but I believe they are bailing out at the end of the lap. So luckily, yeah, these guys all on in laps. We are trying to start our out lap there, and immediately, that's not the best way to go about things there. Sergio Perez, I believe that was, it might have been Verstappen actually, held us up there as, yeah, the Dutchman a second away from his teammate, so not too sure what's happened to him early on this session. It does look like VCARB, though, seem to once again have the pace over everybody a little bit further back. As, yeah, another couple of surprises, though. Fernando Alonso drowning down in the drop zone as well in his Aston Martin. So I would be surprised if we saw him not make it into Q2. But, it has happened before inside this game. And that is a good first split time by Liam Lawson, except for he's then immediately gone and cut the second chicane. Hopefully, yeah, he did run wide there, but let's wait and see whether that actually costs him any lap time here. We might have to try and get him just to go for a second run as well in the car, because, of course, he hasn't got enough time to come into the pit lane and get back out there. So let's wait and see whether he's still up, because it didn't really look like he cost himself much time at all in that situation. No, he hasn't. 27-0. Maybe Liam Lawson, we saw this back at Silverstone. We were kind of able to cheat the system a little bit by making him stay out there and kind of you know, what we did is we did the opposite of that, didn't we? We made him pit before the end of his flying lap, and it actually found him a couple of extra tenths of a second, which I thought was rather funny as well there. But through the final corner then, are we going to see Lawson get himself into that top 16? He only needs another tenth of a second, which he is going to find, and that's actually really impressive. So again, I don't know how much of that has kind of been gained by potentially cutting the chicane, but that's maybe a little bit worried here. We're going to have to send Yuki out for another run. What I'm also going to do, though, is let Liam do another lap here, still in anger. So maybe, just maybe, we're going to see him, you know, double improve there and might be able to get, you know, a very, very competitive lap time. But that is fantastic at this stage of the session. But it does look like everybody is improving here as well. So I don't think temperatures and things like that are meant to be moving around too much. Of course, the circuit is meant to get a little bit more rubbered in, but it shouldn't make that much of a difference right towards the end of the sessions here. He's down in that first split, though, but by less than a tenth of a second, so maybe for Liam Lawson this isn't over just yet. I think the big one still is going to be whether Fernando Alonso is going to get a bit held up there, as Miata will go quicker. Ricciardo as well, though, still inside that top 10, so Haas looking racy once again. I mean, surely you would expect this to be a Williams track. I can confirm as well Logan Sargent is still in that car. So yeah, Lawson, this lap has been, unfortunately, a bit of a write-off for him. I never sent Yuki out. I thought I sent Yuki out. So he's basically going to have to do 2 qualifying laps now. Yuki Tsunoda's going to have to go out and do a lap in anger to set himself up. I'm adamant I clicked that, but apparently not. I'm happy I noticed it when I did. Otherwise, well, Yuki could definitely be out in Q1 here. He might still end up out in Q1 unless we really kind of get on with it. But yeah, we are going to have to take manual control then of that car, and he's going to have to try and push on or use the fuel. We'll use everything else, but just make sure, obviously, that we've got enough time just about to get ourselves out there on a run. And you can see, yeah, now we've got everything up. We'll get past... Well, I guess we'll bring ourselves into a bit of a train. Only 30 seconds left, though. We have not got much time here to really try and get on with this. I think everybody now just starting to get a little bit nervous. We'll move past the Aston Martin there. Is that Fernando Alonso? Is Fernando Alonso still right down the rear of the field? He might not get another lap in. Alonso might be out in Q1, ready for this Grand Prix there, as everybody else then makes their way out of the final corner. Williams there is going to slow Yuki down somehow. I think Alonso's out of it. Up to the line. Yes, he is. So we've stopped Fernando Alonso getting his last run on the board there by going out for our own one. And that might mean that we're safely through and into Q2. We've still got Zhou and Bottas improving. And the Alpine there of, I believe that's Pierre Gasly, isn't it? Right at the rear of the field. So this might not be over, as it is. It is. We've got to put him on deploy. How stupid can I be inside this game? I mean, Lawson's definitely through. He might still make it through, though, to be fair. But yeah, this lap is unfortunately going to be a complete write-off because we're 2 seconds off the pace through that first sector. Bottas cannot improve. So Zhou will go up into P18. Yuki, though, as he makes his way down towards the final corners, he's down anyway in Sector 2. I think we're going to be out of this by half a tenth of a second come the end of the lap here. Through the final corner, Fernando Alonso is going to be lining up at the rear of the field there. Bottas does improve to go P12 as well, but Yuki Tsunoda up towards the line. It's not enough. I've completely screwed him. He'll end up P18 on the grid. Well, Liam Lawson then, yeah, really only has 1 set of tyres ready for this Q2, so I'm just going to try and send him out there, you know, fairly early on in the session just to try and get a lap on the board and hopefully not get held up in too much traffic, unlike what we did with Tsunoda at the end of Q1. I have remembered again to use the deploy on the power pack, and we'll wait and see as to whether that V-car will move out of the way, which they just about do. Of course, it looks... I can't really work out whether we've got the new and updated Monza inside this game. I'm looking forward to seeing that, hopefully at some point inside F124. But I tell you what, so far this weekend, Perez has really been the Red Bull that's been able to deliver here. I mean, clearly it's all mix-up then. As you can see, Liam even force a habit talking about Yuki in Q2. Lawson again finding even more pace, though, through that first sector. So I tell you what, he actually looks pretty racy here. And clearly the summer break, he has put the work in to try and make sure, you know, he's back in a good headspace inside this series. And it is working wonders for us. Q2, where Yuki failed to make it. And hopefully we could try and get ourselves near the top 10 by the end of qualifying. I'd love to try and set a time, you know, quicker than Bottas ideally, I guess, looking at it at the moment. But obviously the pressure is on there as a 27.2. So I think he did gain time by cutting the chicane in his Q1 run. I don't think he's been able to match that since then. I don't think Yuki was able to either. So that might be why we saw Lawson into Q2. Why Yuki didn't make it. But I guess the less said about it, the better there. As at the final corner up towards the line, he is gonna go P9 in the end. They're a little way away from those cars I wanted to beat. But I guess, you know, it's probably going to be P15, P16 on the grid anyway. Well, there we go then, the end of Q2. A little bit gutted that, yeah, Lawson not able to go quicker than absolutely anybody there. But you can see that it was 0.2 of a second he found in Q1 there. Kind of basically meant, yeah, he was never going to go quicker than anyone other than potentially Logan Sargent as well. They're at 16th and 18th place on the grid this weekend here in Italy. Hopefully we can try and get a good time under our belt. And of course now that Verstappen has decided to show up.
Well, it won't be long before the drivers hit the track for 53 laps around Monza in what should be a fast and fantastic race.
Monza has seen some incredible moments in the past. Pierre Gasly's unexpected 2020 victory reminded us of how wonderfully unpredictable this sport can be.
Monza, a centurion among circuits, dripping with motorsport history. Expect to see cars fly by as 80% of the track is tackled at full throttle. It's not all go, however, and brakes can be prone to overheating through the tight chicanes that Monza has to offer. Here we are, folks. We're back for another day of scintillating F1 action. It's race day.
Well, here we are then down on the grid, ready for the Italian Grand Prix. This one is going to be all about just trying to work together and staying out of trouble. I don't know whether this race could be carnage or not. I've really got no idea as to what to expect, but what I am going to do is put Yuki Tsunoda on the alternate strategy as well. I want to just see how far he can take the hard tyres early on, and then obviously just go to the mediums for the second half of the GP. Ultimately, yeah, normally tyre wear here is not too bad inside the games, and Liam Lawson as well, though I'm going to try and keep him on the normal strat as well. Though we need to try and make sure that we got all, well, not quite all the fuel, actually seems to be rather economical around this circuit, because 80% of this lap is taken at full throttle. I'm quite surprised to see that one. So we'll go 52 laps on Liam. He's going to have to try and potentially recover a bit more fuel as the race goes on. Yuki, though, we will give him a bit more time to push. But yeah, he might lose places off the start of the Grand Prix. So slightly different race plans for both cars. Let's see what they can do here today.
The anticipation is really building here. The fans in attendance are absolutely buzzing with excitement. And it's always an entertaining race when Yuki Tsunoda is involved.
What can they manage from 18? It'll be interesting to see, that's for sure.
But remember, anything can happen in Formula One. Here we are at the oldest circuit in Europe for this, the Italian Grand Prix. And it's lights out and away we go.
Let's see then just how well both our cars can get away. I've made sure that Lawson is going to go super aggressive down in towards that first corner. But Yuki, like I said, I think we're just going to have to try and make sure with him that he just tries to stay out of trouble a little bit more there. As we'll try and see if we can build up some confidence immediately, having a look down the inside of Sargent in towards that first corner. And hopefully we're going to be able to try and pull that off on the exit there. Get the power down around the outside of the Williams. We know that car will be quick. Down in a straight line over the course of the weekend. Yeah, hopefully we can try and just build up a bit of confidence with Liam as well. Though, you know, I want to put him in a good stead towards the end of the season. Or, if he makes too many mistakes over the next couple of rounds, just leave him completely wrecked going to McLaren next season. Because, again, he's absolutely been a traitor to me. And what has Yuki done early on?
Right, let's have a look as we go into turn 4.
I heard, like, woos and cheers from the crowd, so I was a little bit scared there. As how on earth have we been overtaken by Kick Sauber? And, well, yeah, Alonso is less of a surprise, isn't it? We're trying to look back around the outside of the Spaniard. But, yeah, losing both of those places then on the opening lap here. So, not ideal. Oh, no. Oh, no, he's just failed an overtake. That's fine. That's fine, Yuki, don't worry. Don't worry too much early on. I think pretty much every car here is on the mediums. Bottas is also on hards. And Perez is on soft, so I think he's trying to keep up with Verstappen early on.
Now this was the 7th corner. The opportunity begging to be taken.
I mean, how on earth has he got the drive off of that corner there to get down the inside? I mean, how often do you see moves into the second Lesmo? Unless the car in front has made a bit of a mistake there. So, yeah, Yuki, he's down to last place in this Grand Prix. Because I think, yeah, we're also going to see Alex Albon as well try to make the move. Well, no, they will just hang on. And, yeah, you can see Lawson as well. Just struggling a little bit early. So I'm not going to try and get him to go too aggressive either here. DRS now enabled. I think I set the race targets to 15th for Yuki and 19th for Liam. So, got to try and make sure that Yuki does carve his way through the order at some point today. We'll kind of wait and see what engine temperature as well is like. But, oh, great. What on earth's Yuki done now? I just saw him. He's way behind the rest of the field. And he's gone for a spin. Have the drivers, like, role reversed now? How on earth do you lose the car like that through turn 1? Yuki Tsunoda, that might be the worst lap one I've ever seen. Ever inside F1 Manager. And of course, it's one of my drivers that does it there. So, I guess now he can just kind of do his own thing. You know, he's not going to have to deal with dirty air and things like that. But, yeah, Yuki Tsunoda in the wars early on in this GP. And Lawson, you can already see as well, struggling to keep up with those cars in front of him. So, I think we're going to lose the place to Alonso pretty quickly as well. Which we will, so let's just try. I mean, what can we really do with him early on in this race? You know, there's not a lot you can do. I just think the car's a bit too slow around a venue like this. You know, if we stay in the DRS, then we might be okay. You can see Yuki as well, a little bit further behind, struggling as well with it. But, yeah, both drivers struggling with engine temperature, obviously because they're in so much dirty air. So it's a little bit tricky to kind of work out exactly what you can do here, as Alonso now looks to kind of be dragging everybody else along. What's more annoying me right now is the fact that Ricciardo is in P9 there ahead of both Aston Martins. So that might cause us problems as the race continues throughout the afternoon. But, yeah, we're kind of just seeing everybody kind of spread out early on as we got a Joe with a spin. Clearly hasn't cost him that much time, otherwise he'd be a bit further down the order. Just tucked up behind Liam. And he'll go for a... He just teleported back around. He lost 4 seconds from that. Because he just teleports back around there. So still Yuki can't even get himself back in the fight. And it's also meant that maybe Lawson now is starting to drop away from those cars in front of him. So this is really not working well for us early on. Got to try and make sure that we keep Lawson in that range of the other cars. But yeah, with Yuki as well still struggling a bit further back. We just can't really do anything. We just simply have not got a car that is quick in a straight line around this circuit. And, well, after Zandvoort probably as a team was one of our best races of the year, you know, it was kind of going to be expected. If you've got a car that's good around those kind of tracks, then it's always going to struggle around a track like this. And now we're starting to see other drivers reporting mechanical issues. Luckily, as Perez's first one to blink then, he's come out still way ahead. How on earth has Perez done that? So, yeah, clearly the front runners. Still, I do find the AI pace on this game, like the pace discrepancy inside this game still, I find way too aggressive still, because it is just a little bit peculiar. You know, just how OP, you know, the top teams are and things like that. You don't really get many surprises inside this title there. So just make sure that we keep using up little bits of battery on the cars, as Lawson as well now struggling with some mechanical gremlins. That is the powertrain, so the ERS on that car really struggling as well. And now he's got basically no battery either, so I think we're just going to have to leave Liam probably in... Oh, he's gone. So battery is, I think, gone. So we'll leave him in top-up, I think, throughout the next few laps here and kind of see whether that fixes things. But, yeah, we're really, really struggling. I don't think there's any other way to describe it at the moment. We just simply have not got a car that is quick enough to fight. Reliability that is not that great either. And we're not far away from going a lap down either to Max Verstappen, which I think is even more sad as well as its stage. I mean, I would like, you know, without a race with safety car intervention, for us to end up finishing on the lead lap. As oh, Ricciardo! Ricciardo's gone for a spin. That is good news. I mean, he was tucked up behind one of the Mercs, which is bad news, but He'll go for a bit of a pirouette. And that'll cost him some time as well. Here we go. Yuki down the inside of Liam Lawson. So, I mean, Lawson's tyres are wrecked. Didn't even realise that. So, yeah, Lawson really, really struggling at this stage of the afternoon. Tsunoda still trying to look for the move, though. Back down towards turn 1. And I think, yeah, he's just going to be able to complete that one there. So, happy days for Yuki. He's going to be able to try and continue pushing on up the road. But, yeah, Lawson is going to dive into the pit lane then at the end of this lap. And hopefully we can try and get a nice, clean, tidy pit stop as well with the second car there. He's not pitting! Why is he not pitting? Eh? I thought I told him to pit. I thought he said he was going to pit. So Lawson's going to have to do one more then before he dives into the pit lane. And Esteban Ocon now has gone for a spin. I don't know why everybody's spinning at turn 2. I could not explain, as there we go, one of the Haas cars had to avoid him. Everybody's just driving through the gravel. There is a slight element of brokenness, it must be said still, in this game. You can just see, yeah, Lawson, his tyre life has actually been pretty much as expected. So, yeah, I mean, even with the harvesting on the battery, we're not really able to do a lot right now with that car. Oh, no, he's got a puncture. It just goes from bad to worse, doesn't it, for poor Liam Lawson? And like I said, I thought we were pitting him. Apparently we weren't. And I think, yeah, his afternoon is basically ruined. In fact, I'm tempted to save the engine, save the car, and just call it a day for him. Although, I guess if we get a safety car or something like that, I don't really want to wreck his kind of confidence still. I think that's the other problem we're still kind of worried about at this stage of the campaign there is, yeah, Yuki's not a million miles away from making his pit stop either. So, hopefully, yeah, we're going to bring him in pretty soon, and he can try and fight back in the second half of the GP. I guess as well, it doesn't matter, obviously, if Liam is a bit down on fuel, because, of course, he's going to end up a lap down by the end of the afternoon either. So, Tsunoda, we will call him in at the end of next lap. But ultimately, yeah, this has been a really, really tough Grand Prix for us, because there's just not really a lot we're going to be able to do at this stage of the afternoon either. So, yeah, I mean, you can see normally we're like a pit stop ahead of a lot of these cars. This weekend, we seem to be about a pit stop behind most of them, which is, yeah, very, very frustrating. But of course, you know, we have put most of our emphasis on the car this year, onto it, you know, trying to be quicker around the high downforce than the lower downforce. Sorry? He just went, both McLarens just went through him down at turn 1. And now we are 21st and 22nd, I believe, in this Grand Prix. We need a safety car or something, just to give us any kind of fighting chance in the second half of the Grand Prix, because, yeah, we are well and truly in the wars here. I mean, maybe more AI have got to pit between now and the end of the afternoon. I think, no, they're all on hards. I think genuinely everybody might be going to the end of this one. And we are just in the doldrums here. I don't think we've ever had a car this slow inside F1 Manager before, and I'll be honest, yeah, looking at Liam Lawson's car, I think, honestly, that engine, the ERS is not good. The engine's still pretty good. The gearbox is pretty good. I mean, there's no real point putting the wear on it, is it? Especially when we've got absolutely no fighting pace inside the car either. So, we're going to make the horrible, horrible call, and I think we're going to decide to retire that car from this Grand Prix, if I can remember how to do it. But, yeah, it's just been an absolute disaster. Absolute disaster. Where do I go to retire the car? I swear I've seen this option before inside the game. Liam Lawson, is it there? Tyres, powertrain, aero. Can't see anything. Where do I go to retire him? I swear it was in here somewhere. Can we box pit confirm? Pit options. Car parts. Strategy conflict. We can't. I genuinely don't think there's... Where... How do I retire the car on this game? This is definitely a thing. I know it's a thing because I've looked at the option before, but... Oh, there we go. If I click on it, we just click retire the car, yeah, and annoyingly, I think, yeah, Lawson... It's a frustrating day for him, but ultimately we may as well try and save the engine for the next round, and yeah, Liam Lawson out of the Grand Prix then, so... Disappointing. Very, very disappointing. And it's not a decision you take lightly either inside this game. And I tell you what, if we get a safety car now in the second half of this Grand Prix, then I'm going to be really, really annoyed as well. Because I might still... I mean, we haven't really got much chance of doing anything, have we, particularly? But we may as well try and go for it there. As I mean, we've got to try and get Tsunoda back inside the top 15 if I want any hope by the end of the afternoon. Because otherwise, yeah, we're not going to get any of our objectives. And then we're going to be even shorter for cash in the not-too-distant future as well. So, Tsunoda overtakes Zhou.
So here we go, heading into turn 1.
I can't be slower than Sauber here. That's the big thing that worries me. As there we go, nice simple move on the Sauber driver as well then. So, how far's the gap up to the next car? It is going to be... It's not actually that far away, 7 seconds. So, hopefully we're still actually going to be able to fight towards the end of this one. But yeah, again, you know, it's kind of more about whether the AI trip each other over a little bit as well. As again, we got more yellow flags out. I believe that was Hulkenberg making a little bit of an error. But now we've been lapped by one of the Mercs. Hopefully, we're going to try and utilise that. It was, and try and get past Hulkenberg as well. Because he's going to have to try and let them by down the start-finish straight. And then hopefully we're going to be able to slip past the Haas driver as well then. So, trying to use the Verstappen strap from from a few years ago now at Monaco, if you guys remember. And we'll wait and see whether... Come on, Haskell, let him by, drop back. Are we going to be able to make it happen? Yes, we do. Wonderful. So we're going to try and really sit inside the range then. I believe, yeah, it is of Lewis Hamilton here towards the end of the afternoon. As it looks like, yeah, Merc have made a bit of a leap forward against Aston Martin as well, which I guess is good news there. 6 seconds now, the gap to Pierre Gasly towards the end of the race. And yeah, he, Ocon, Sargent and Albon all still kind of fighting each other a little bit as well here, with just a handful of laps to go of this GP. So yeah, I'm not sure we're going to get there though. This is the other awkward bit, as we'll lose a bit of time there letting Lance Stroll by as well. But I mean, yeah, these two, are they even going to get to those slower cars before the end? I mean, we shouldn't get lapped by Verstappen again, which I guess is good news. And hopefully now, as yeah, we've let Pierre Gasly by. Can we try and get in the range of Pierre? We should be able to, surely. We've only got a few laps to go. We can actually start pushing the tyres as well a little bit more to the end. And yeah, we'll go full fuel, everything like that. Just trying to go full attack mode towards the end of the GP. There is Charles Leclerc reporting mechanical fault in his Ferrari. Hopefully we're going to be reporting that we've got the run on Pierre Gasly as well, back down in towards turn 1 there. So, I mean, we could still do this in the final few laps of the Grand Prix. Up into 18th place there. There's a bit of a gap, though, between Sargent and Albon, and Tsunoda's going to waste it anyway. What on earth is going on? I think I've broken F1 Manager. What on earth was that? Is he out? Is he out? What's he done? I mean, watch this. Will it show it on the replay as well? He cuts the chicane, turns around.
Can't do that too often with these cars.
Well, you don't want to do that too often with any car. I'm surprised he even can see where he's going anymore. Game kind of figures that out behind the scenes, though. But yeah, I think that goes and sums up our Italian Grand Prix, to be completely honest. Because it looks like we are going to finish last and second to last here. Verstappen, I think, yeah, is once again, though, going to win this one. But Ferrari, look like they are going to get a double podium as well for their troubles in the end, as Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc desperate to try and fight each other as well then. But in towards the final few corners of the Grand Prix, Max Verstappen at the front of the field. He's going to win another one. Are we shocked? I don't think so, really, at this stage of the campaign. The Dutchman's going to win. But yeah, for us, that has been a complete and utter disaster.
Well, things just didn't go well for Yuki Tsunoda today.
You know, I don't think many would have expected to see them finishing outside the top 10. They'll be aiming much higher than that, I assure you.
Well, Max Verstappen can add yet another podium to his already impressive record.
There really doesn't seem to be a way to stop them winning this year. Amazing consistency.
And that, right there, is a picture-perfect end to this weekend in Monza. Well, Karun, how do you think they'll be feeling in the team garage at the end of that?
They'll be disappointed. Neither driver really shone here, it has to be said, and there's quite a bit of work to be done, but they'll be well aware of that.
And with that, our time in Italy is done for another year.
Next time, the teams will be racing through the streets of another city. Join us in Baku on the shores of the Caspian Sea for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix.
Well, there we are then. Max Verstappen takes yet another victory this season there. 1 hour and 16 minutes to do an entire Formula 1 Grand Prix as well is absolutely mental there. Carlos Sainz P2 ahead of Leclerc and Sergio Perez in P4. McLaren really struggled for pace this weekend. Fifth and sixth ahead of Hamilton, Stroll, Alonso and George Russell there. Pretty disappointed, I'm sure, in P10. Luckily for us, although we had an absolute stinker, VCARB don't score any points either, which I guess is good news. But yeah, absolutely a weekend not to write home about for the team. Last and DNF. Yeah, really, I think next season we'll kind of just accept that Monza might not be a particularly good track for us. Championship-wise, though, Verstappen, yeah, just continuing to open up his lead at the top of the table there. Constructors-wise, Red Bull, see opening up against McLaren as well. Ferrari versus McLaren might still be a very, very good fight between now and the end of the year there. And still Alpine and Kick Sauber yet to score a point in this campaign. Pits Award, we had an absolute shocking weekend as well, to be completely honest. 6.8 for Yuki, 2.8 for Liam Lawson there, half a second away from the best times of the weekend. And yeah, you can see Kick Sauber take 10 points out of us in that regard. We might end up last by the end of the season. But thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon when Formula 1 returns ready in Baku.